Hello, everyone. I recently submitted a research proposal for a PhD in religion and theology at the University of Bristol. And in today's video, I'd like to offer a summary and a review of my proposal. So the proposal deals with the literature on meaning in life, first and foremost. And so this meaning in life literature comes kind of out of French existentialism, Camus asking the question, suggesting that the most important philosophical question is suicide. That's what Albert Camus said in the 40s. And before that, we had Nietzsche and Kierkegaard and Dostoevsky in the 19th century asking important questions about the meaning in life. Kierkegaard coining the term the existential crisis, bringing the question of meaning to the fore. Nietzsche's questions around the death of God. These perspectives were emerging in philosophy in the 19th century, which kind of then grew into French existentialism and Camus. Of course, Frankl, Viktor Frankl is worth mentioning. His Man's Search for Meaning is something that emerged out of World War II also. Camus and Frankl both being deeply influenced by those times. And so Frankl actually offers some possible sources of meaning in life. How is it derived? What is it that affords us meaning in life? He suggests love among labor and other sources. He suggests love as a possible source for meaning in life, and he has a brilliant quote about this, which I can't remember right now. And so Frankl is there coming out of Auschwitz, searching deeply into questions of meaning and offering us a response that love is a potential source of meaning in life. So there's the meaning in life literature, existential philosophy. The question of meaning in life has become relevant in the last 2 centuries. Possible sources have been sort of hypothesized and given for meaning in life. And one of those sources is love. Now, as a source of meaning in life, we can get 2 accounts of love. Naturalistic accounts, which want to say that love as a source of meaning in life is explainable on naturalistic terms, to say that what that ultimately is the physical universe. We don't need to postulate a transcendent or spiritual dimension to reality. We can stick with a scientific description of the world. That will be sufficient, and its explanation of physical systems, that will be sufficient to account for human love and the meaning it affords. That's what a naturalist accounts would want to defend those claims. And so within naturalist accounts of love as a source of meaning in life, there are subjectivist and objectivist accounts. Harry Frankfurt let me move this. Harry Frankfurt is a subjectivist, and he claims that devoting oneself to what one loves suffices to make one's life meaningful. So he's suggesting there that the mere devotion, the kind of passionate giving of oneself to an object of love is sufficient to afford my life meaning. So there's something that about the emphasis on the devotion of oneself passionately, to desire something. Another word for this could be merely passion. You know, follow your passions, follow what you're passionate about. This subjectivist position touches on that kind of passion as a source of meaning viewpoint. So Frankfurt is saying devoting oneself to what one loves suffices to make one's life meaningful. So let's go into Frankfurt. Naturalistic accounts of love as a source of meaning in life. The subjectivist camp of the naturalists. Frankfurt is a voice in that, who says devoting oneself to what one loves suffices to make one's life meaningful. So we have someone here devoting their love towards something which is affording them meaning. But we have a question mark around the kind of end or the object of that love, because it doesn't really matter so much. And so here, this red arrow is where I guess my critical voice is coming in, which is saying subjectivist accounts such as Frankfurt's fail to sufficiently account for the telos or end of our love, thereby rendering love pointless. So the idea here is that it is purely about my passion and my following of that passion that is going to afford me meaning. And so it doesn't matter so much what I'm passionate about, whether I'm passionate about something seemingly trivial or something that might be considered more important. The relative triviality and importance of the end or of the end of our lives, the thing that we aim towards, that kind of is rendered somewhat irrelevant on subjectivism, because it doesn't matter so much substantively what you love. And so my critique here is to say that, to ask some questions, critique of Frankfurt. Does the actual telos or end of our love matter? Does it matter? Does it matter that I can love my cat as much as I love my newborn child? My cat and my child, are they equally worthy of love? Or to make it more extreme, my favorite ice cream and a newborn child, what's more valuable? What's more worthy of my love? Does that matter? Frankfurt might say, no, that doesn't matter so much. You can, of course, afford equal meaning to your life by valuing a cat and versus a human being. A cat versus a human being. Both could be very passionately loving of their cat and their human being. For Frankfurt, that might mean that there is an equal sense of meaning in life there. So that's a question I'm raising. Another question, does the actual telos or end of our love have independent value? So does it matter if I love my cat? Is there something independently worth my love in the cat? Or is it just that I ascribe that worth to the cat or to another object or another potential thing that I love? Is there something independently valuable, independent of me, that is valuable about the cat or the human being or the ice cream or the different things that we can love? Is there something independently valuable about that? Important question to raise for a subjectivist, because well, I'm going to get to my critique more specifically in a slide, I think. So let's go there. And the other question is, does it matter what I love or that I love? That's basically the summary of what I've kind of explained here about Frankfurt's subjectivist account of love. He's saying it matters that I love. What I love is bears less on the meaning that is afforded for Frankfurt. So these are some of my claims in response to these questions, or the ways I'm going to argue. Yes, some things are more worthy of love than others. Yes, there is an ontological ground towards which our love aspires. And does it matter what I love or that I love? What and that? Well, that's what Wolf, who we're going to come to, might argue, and that's a hybridism, is the term that's used in the literature. So here's, I guess, my more specific critique. There is a danger of romanticism, solipsism, and egotism in the claim that meaning is self-derived according to the intensity of our subjective passion. Is meaning merely self-referential then? Is the end of our love irrelevant? So there's a way, I think, of saying that if it's just my passion, if it's just my love, then that's quite self-referential. I'm not looking outside myself at an object. I'm looking purely subjective, so purely kind of interior. Well, then I'm not related to the things I desire in any meaningful way, and that has certain implications. Why do I desire them then if I'm not fundamentally related to them? If I'm only related to them by my passion, by my love, by the fact of my passion, as many might argue, that can be very self-referential, and it's really sidelining the question of what is objectively worthy of love, and sidelining the question of value in a way that seems problematic. Let's return again to the line of argument. Meaning in life, possible sources, love, naturalistic accounts, subjectivistic accounts. Harry Frankfurt's argument, devoting oneself to what one loves suffices to make one's life meaningful. And we've looked at a line of critique and a line of questioning around Frankfurt's position. Let's look now at Susan Wolf, an objectivist or hybridist, as it's called in the literature, who claims a life that contributes to or realizes or connects in some positive way with independent value is a life that's meaningful. So Wolf is here going to say, contra Frankfurt, against Frankfurt, going to say, look, meaning is connected to love. We have something we're aiming to love, and that something has an independent value. It is grounded in some basis outside of our mere subjective connection to it. It has something metaphysically about it that is worthy of being loved, being meaningful, is what Wolf wants to claim, okay? She wants to claim a more objective basis of value and defend the idea of independent value, which I think is important because it puts telos, it puts the end of our love back in the picture in an important way. So Wolf's critique is really helpful in that sense. But if it's the questions I'd want to raise with Wolf are like, if it's a naturalistic account, if you're wanting to say that there is that what we find meaningful and then what we love is independently valuable, how are you going to do that on naturalism? How are you going to do that when you're claiming that this is explainable purely within the confines of a scientific description of reality and a physical universe? Because what is the basis of that value? Why isn't a cat, aren't a cat and a human being equally valuable on that worldview? What is the basis you're giving to justify the claim of the independent value, the worth of the objects that afford meaning, the telos, the end, the thing towards which we aim our desire? Do those things have an independent value? Wolf is saying yes, but I'm saying, how are you justifying that, Wolf? I'm saying, what are your metaphysics to say yes? What is the basis for considering a human being more worthy of love and more richly affording meaning than, say, a cat? So let's get into a bit more of my critical voice here. So I've critiqued Frankfurt and I'm critiquing Wolf on that basis. What is the basis of this independent value on naturalism, as I've asked? How do naturalist metaphysics ground this independent value? Do Platonic, Neoplatonic, or Christian metaphysics offer a way of answering this question? St. Maximus has written on the true end of love, Plotinus and Plato also. So here what I'm doing is interrogating the naturalist positions which want to say, yes, there is an independent and objective value. Our telos, the end of our love, is something we need to consider. Some things are more worthy than others of our love. We need to seriously consider that possibility. And Wolf is kind of arguing that contra Frankfurt, who's claimed more of a, to simplify it, to claim that being passionate about something is enough to ground, is enough of a wellspring of meaning, basically, for Frankfurt. Wolf's critiquing that and saying, no, that's not enough. It matters more. So it matters, but it also matters what is loved, like what it is and why it's valuable. That matters. So I'm asking now, like, does naturalism really have a basis for defending that claim? I'm wanting to explore that basis more thoroughly, and I'm wanting to open the possibility that metaphysics of love have been given historically through Platonism, Neoplatonism, and Christianity, and that these philosophical positions might be able to answer the question of this independent value. Perhaps it could be grounded in a realm, in a transcendent realm, in the realm of ideal, the realm of forms for Plato, perhaps. So I'm kind of asking that question of the naturalists. I'm saying, what is the basis of this independent value? Is a human being more meaningful? Does a human being afford more meaning than a cat? If so, why? What is the basis for defending that claim on naturalism? Perhaps there's lines of evolutionary argument that could be reasonable, and so exploring more of the literature into like the naturalist justification for this worldview that Wolf's presenting, because I think her account's very, very interesting. I'm just asking questions around the metaphysics of it. So the proposed research question is, how can naturalism justifiably account for love as a source of meaning in life? Yeah, I've been working on this for a few weeks, and in some senses for years. I've been thinking about these things for a while, but the PhD I've been working on more recently, and I submitted it recently, and the PhD proposal. And so I wanted to summarize, go through this activity of making a presentation to organize my thoughts more coherently, to represent them perhaps more visually, and then to talk it through here and share it with you, to help clarify some of my thinking around these ideas, and also to invite critique. Like, I'd really love to share this as an invitation for critique or conceptual clarification, or people asking, well, any questions are welcome, because I'd like to formulate my thoughts as clearly as possible. I'm sure there's things I haven't considered. I'm sure there are errors in what I've just said. And I'm sure there's a requirement to think more deeply about some of the questions that have been asked, and to pursue them. And so, yeah, I would love to hear any comments on this at all, any questions on this. And I hope it was coherent, I hope it made sense. So thank you for listening.